Well, it happened. My camera broke. So what happened? How did my camera break, and how did I get into a position of using my phone for the time being? So I was out at some of the land that I shoot my wildlife footage in, looking for coyotes and pronghorns and filming ground squirrels, and I got chased off by horses. Basically, there was a group of about 30 horses that were out on the field, and I initially gave them quite a bit of room. They kind of collectively got into a run, so all the horses flew towards me, and well, I took off running because I really didn't want to have a situation where I was in the middle of a horse herd. And I stepped into a prairie dog hole that was covered in snow, and ankle in a hole, I go down, so does the camera, and ultimately the lens ends up hitting the ground and jamming up. So now my camera that allows me to get a lot of the wildlife footage is out for repairs. As a consequence, I'm going to be focusing more on the Wander and Wonder series, which I kind of think of as the tour wandering around talking about how awesome everything is series. So we're walking around the lake today with Kava over here, and we will see what we can find. Catch you in a bit. Well, Kava's disappeared for a little bit. I think she smelled some deer out in the woods over there. She's generally a good dog. She'll stay, close by a lot of the time, but as soon as she smells deer, it's just a different universe, right? She's going to chase them down, and well, she's going to run at them, and they are going to vastly outrun her, and then she's going to come back. Little confused, but quite happy. It's always fun just like seeing her, the amount of joy she gets just from chasing deer down, the tongue wagging out, and just all of this body language from dogs that just really expresses that enormous happiness that they have. So we'll catch Kava back again in a bit. One of the things I love about this time of year is that right there. When the water starts to freeze on the ice, there's just this amazing combination of textures of the grass and the water freezing with just this beautiful combination, right? The stillness of the ice combined with the grass blowing in the wind, and it's just such like a different universe that starts to form, and you just don't find that anywhere but out in the winter. So I think I've gotten a little bit complacent. It's Montana fall, which means it hasn't really settled into the sub-zero temperatures, but I've been holding on to this metal camera pole the entire time with my phone. So my hands are starting to, so my hands are starting to turn red and starting to feel the cold a little bit. So swapped hands, and I'm gonna put that left hand in the pocket and hopefully get back to a actual real human temperature. So to give an idea of the kinds of things that run through my brain here. So I'm walking down this road next to the lake, and I see something like this. Even though that this particular canyon is only like an inch or two deep, you can see how the shelter from the exposure and the air and the wind and other factors has actually helped this snow from melting. Whereas on the rest of the road here, where it's more exposed, it's a different story. And so this exact same process will take place on ridge lines and giant, much larger canyons where it's significantly cooler. And so you can almost like visualize this as being a small rendition of the much larger structure in the real world. And I find that just like absolutely amazing, right? There are things that exist in nature that at a small scale can in many ways mirror something that happens on scales thousands and thousands of times larger. Having walked so many drainages so often in my job, surrounded by the walls on both sides, and noticing how much cooler it is down there. It's just so cool, right? To see like a miniature version of this play out right in front of me. And the exact same principles are at work. And I talk about like finding amazement to the ordinary. And this is absolutely a great example of that. Stuff's super, super neat. I hear somebody coming up there, so I'm putting Kava on the leash. She's not too pleased, but you know, she'll live. Now check this out. Just the amount of beauty that you can see out here at this time of year. You have the snow on the ground, but also some of the grass exposed from it melting. The deep greens that contrast with the orange grass. And the oranges of the little island in the lake surrounded by water and the trees poking out. And the way that the clouds are mirrored on the surface of that reflection. There are just so many small details that are just so unbelievably gorgeous when you're able to stop for a time and take it in. Check out that frozen tree in the water there. I especially love when the water is just starting to freeze. It hasn't frozen solidly, and there's just this still fairly saturated color in the water that you just don't get otherwise. It's a beautiful spot. Just love this. These kind of submerged objects in the water here. You have somebody's boat that they've left there, starting to get surrounded by the water and plants and grass. There's some ducks in the distance, and then there's a very curious Kava checking it all out. Ah, she hears a dog. So a very slow trail. So this is the face that I make when I just saw a fox running through the weeds out there. That's cool. I always love seeing those. Check these out, like little ice cubes covering the rocks. More smooth on the rock, kind of shattered outside it. There's the water, and up to the lake. All right, well the camera battery is about to die, which means I should probably wish you all well and make the rest of the walk, fortunately without a camera, but hope you're able to enjoy the first of these episodes that are a little bit more personal, a little bit closer to the general way I tend to experience the world, which is just to wander around finding everything awesome. So if you enjoyed this video and you want more in the future, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down that way. And until next time, wander and wonder.